So Representative Sean Duffy had a meltdown on the House floor defending President Trump. There is so much of this to pick apart, and we're going to do exactly that.
I want to note, Mr. Speaker, that I've looked closely at the chain of 3 tweets sent out by President Trump. And in those tweets, I see nothing that references anybody's race. Not a thing. I don't see anyone's name being referenced in the tweets. But the president's referring to people, congresswomen, who are anti-American. And lo and behold, everybody in this chamber knows who he's talking about. Who are the anti-American members of Congress? He didn't say their names. He did not say their race, but he commented on what they view, how they view America. And we all know who he's talking about. I want immigrants to come to this country. But if you come to this country, shouldn't you love this country? We all come here and see imperfection. And we work every week trying to make our country better. But to say I wholeheartedly dislike the country, the fact that I'm going to call the president an MFer, good Lord, what has the institution become? And then to come to this floor and chastise the president for a couple of tweets when that's the language you use against him? That is rich, Mr. Speaker, that's the language that the left would use, and then try to call out the president who didn't cite a race or he didn't cite a name. I look at this, and I think we are all called to do better and be better. We should make this country better. But when I look at some who say, I believe that socialism is a purer form of government and a better economic economy over capitalism that has given us the freest, most generous, most prosperous country that's ever existed on the face of the earth, that we want to trade this in for a system that has always failed, I think you're going to see Republicans push back against that, and I think many Democrats will push back against that. And I think that's what this argument really comes down to. And I'm going to one other note. I look at some of my conservative colleagues, whether it's Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, Justice Thomas, who are...
The gentleman, please.
I yield back.
From New York is recognized.
The gentleman from New York is recognized, Mr. Nadler. Before you go, let me again say, please direct your comments to the chair.
Mr. Speaker, I have a parliamentary inquiry.
Woman will state a parliamentary inquiry.
My inquiry is this. My colleague across the aisle just referred to members of Congress as anti-American. I believe that those words are defamatory.
There's almost like, what do you say in response to somebody who's so unhinged and makes so little sense? Like Sean Duffy there. That's his name, right? Yeah, Sean Duffy. I mean, let's go through some of his nonsense. He says, I see nothing about race in the tweets. I see nothing about race in the tweets. He's telling American congresswomen to go back to their country. Go back to where they came from. Do I need to walk you through why that's a giant problem? U.S. congresswomen, 3 of 4 born here, 1 not, but was a refugee and worked her way all the way to Congress, this little thing called the American Dream. Do I need to walk you through why that's a problem? All of the criticisms that these guys have for people who are nominally on the left, but they've never, ever, 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 ever said about a white dude, go back to your country. Go back to where you came from. But weird, for some reason, when it's for women of color, that's the first argument that comes out. Why don't you just go back to where you came from? They're American. They're American. He didn't say anything about race. He didn't say anything about race. He didn't call Ilhan the N-word. So, come on, bro. Why are you guys being so ridiculous and saying that this president's a bigot? I mean, again, I don't know. Are they really this stupid? Or are they just, like, they know, hey, I'm just going to play defense for my team and use whatever silly-ass arguments I can come up with? I mean, this is really disingenuous. And then, he says... I also love how they just go right to, like, they don't have arguments, they just have buzzwords that give people who are on their side a Pavlovian response. So if you'll notice, how often have you heard this, where they go, socialism? Like, they don't need to say anything. They just say that one word. Socialism. And then everybody on the side goes, socialism. It's like there's this understanding of like, I'm not going to fill in the blanks. I'm not actually going to make a coherent point, a cogent argument. I'm just going to say socialism. And then you're supposed to go, what now, lefties? None of the people who you're talking about have ever taken that label, ever. You want to know why? Because they're not socialists. Much to the chagrin of many socialists. You know what they are? They're social democrats. Some have embraced the level democratic socialist, but that's fundamentally different from socialism. And also, when you look at their politics and the policies they fight for, standard social democracy, like Sweden, like Norway, not like the old school Soviet Union, not like Cuba, not like Venezuela or whatever goofy ass countries these people would bring up is like, oh yeah, you want to be Venezuela? So you want to be Venezuela? See, again, that's the thing. No arguments, just buzzwords, and that's enough for them. Socialist. Venezuela. By the way, I love how so many people on the right say, all the people on the left just want a name call and then get away with it. And then what do? Socialist. Anti-American. That's the other one. Anti-American. You're just anti-American. You just hate America. That's what you hate America. It's not that you're proposing policies that you think will fix this country and make it better. It's that you hate this country and you're trying to take this country down. That's what I think. I'm not a bigot. I'm not a bigot for saying that. Am I a bigot? I'm not a bigot. That's so stupid. And I like how shocked Pramila Jayapal was there. She was like, did you just say that U.S. congresswomen are anti-American? And you think like that's... See, they say it like it's obvious. Like, obviously. It's not like they want to fix the country and propose policies that we know work in other developed countries, that they hate America, all right? And then, finally, he referenced Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, and Justice Thomas in Congress. I wonder why. For those of you who don't know, and all of you know, this is the tap dance that they do when they get caught stone cold saying something incredibly bigoted. I have black friends. That's what this is. Candace Owens, listen. Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, Justice Thomas. Yes, those intellectual powerhouses of Candace Owens and Diamond and Silk, and the guy who hasn't spoken a word on the Supreme Court in about 712 years. I mean, by the way, congrats to Diamond and Silk and Candace Owens. Congrats. Because your whole grift, this is what it boils down to. The president just told U.S. congresswomen, Americans, to go back to their country, and you're trotted out as the defense. Oh yeah, well, if we're so bigoted, why do I like Candace Owens? Bro, if I'm a bigot, why do I agree with everything Jesse Lee Peterson says, bro? Why do I agree with Jesse Lee Peterson that Jim Crow was awesome? I'm a bigot. I'm just agreeing with Jesse Lee Peterson when he says that Jim Crow is better for black people. What do you mean? What do you mean, bro? Ugh. I feel like I need to take a shower when I watch these far right wingers scrambling to defend Trump. They won't even state the obvious. They won't even say, yeah, you know what? You went too far. And obviously when U.S. congresswomen criticize America, it's because they're trying to improve it. There's an old quote, dissent is the highest form of patriotism. I am not sure who said it, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the founding fathers, maybe Thomas Jefferson. But now the argument is, oh, we get to criticize it all day long and say we can make America great again. But if women of color do it, well, you're anti-American and you should probably go back to where you came from.